Hello guys, and welcome back to another weekly market review. Very excited to kick this week off. Like always, we're going to go through the major markets. So we're going to go through the Forex majors, the minors, and then also the equities and see what kind of trades we can take this week. We're not going to look at the 50-minute chart just because by the time you watch this video, they're probably going to be played out already. We're going to be focusing on the 1 hour, 4 hour, and then the daily chart. First, we're going to go through the Forex majors, from there we'll work into the minors, and then from there we'll go through equities. So let's dive right into it. The first one we're going to look at is USDJPY on the 4 hour chart. This is a long setup. So we can see USDJPY had a really big drop here over the, I think right before the close on Friday. We had a nice drop just before the weekend, and we're approaching this support. So we just turn on strategy mode. So here we can see the trade. So we're just approaching support. We can see this support is actually also retest of this inverse head and shoulder. So if we draw this out, you can see this is our head, right shoulder, left shoulder, and this here was the neckline that we broke. So now we're just coming back to retest that broken neckline, which then should take us back into these TP points. So I think this is a good trade to set up. We've got some nice momentum down. Global is still up. We can see still higher lows on the overall structure. So this is going to be our next higher low. We're probably going to see something like this, have this trend line break. So we've got the trend line break here. It's going to come down, fake out all the people that are trying to buy this trend line, and then come back up. And then from there, I guess it depends if we're going to take shorts or not, or if it's going to change bearish. Because here we can see pretty much we broke this structure here as well. So this is actually a really good TP point for this trade, which I'm impressed actually how accurate this algo is sometimes, because usually the way these patterns work is you'll get a break like this. So we got the break, it'll bounce up, and then from here it'll retest and then go down, or have another leg to the upside. So having the TP points in this area is really smart. If you agree, like this video, and if you enjoyed the algorithm, like the video. If you have any questions about the algorithm, put your comments or put a comment in the comment section. Happy to answer any questions you guys have. But yeah, this is a pretty good setup, great TP points, very realistic. And let's move on to USDCHF. So here we have a resistance. Now this is one of those trades where I will be a little more careful, because we can see this level has been hit multiple times. So if we draw out this resistance here, we can see this level has been hit basically like this would be the first, second, and now this is the third time. So you can see it's starting to consolidate around this level. So you can see the first one, really nice push down. Second one, we reached TP2, almost TP3, and then we went up. So I guess we had another quick trade here. This one went down to TP again, and we went up again. And now you can see we're making higher lows. So it's starting to consolidate on this resistance, which could be an accumulation here to get out, to break out further up. If it's repeated more than 3 times, usually, I recommend people to stay out. This played out twice, but this really you can count as a 3rd time. So this will be the kind of the 4th entry, which could still work out. Like, we just don't know, but the probability just becomes lower the more it gets repeated. Another thing you can see is we're forming a left shoulder here, a right shoulder, and then a head. So this is another one of those reverse head and shoulders we saw on Euro Yen as well. So given that it's been repeated, we have an inverse head and shoulders, I would just say, maybe to skip this trade. There's probably better trades you can set up. Like Euro Yen is really good. Now let's move on to Euro USD. So Euro USD is right on the entry right now. We're having a larger pullback to the downside currently. So we can probably expect price to bounce off the extension. We do see a rejection here already. So it's really depends how this next kind of closes. If it does close pretty bearish, we'll probably come down into the extension 1. That's totally fine. Usually in these, in these large candles, you'll see quite a bit of volume and order sitting for price to get pushed up. And that's why these extensions are in a very good spot, and the stop loss is below the extension 2. So, I mean, between Euro Yen and Euro USD, I would say Euro Yen is the better setup, and Euro USD is kind of what I would go as my second setup. But some of you might already be in this trade because it's already on the entry. But if you haven't set up Euro USD, just wait for Euro Yen. Might be the better setup. If you do see let's say you see a good rejection candle, let's say a 4-hour candle closing above, at that point you can see, okay, it got rejected. You can wait for double bottom. So at that point you can set up your buy limit on here on support, And so we'll have a rejection. So price has pushed up. You see, okay, this level got rejected. And then you can place your limits here. Price will come back down for double bottom and then go up. So that's a confirmation you can use if you'd like. Again, if you wait for it, sometimes you'll miss the trade, but it's a safer way to enter if that's something you want to do. Now we went through the majors. Let's move on to the minors. So I'm just going to switch my table here, turn the majors off. So now we're only seeing the minors. So first one on the minors, we have CHF JPY. This is also on the 4 hour. We can see here previously on this support. We had a really nice bounce. So this is here our support. We can see previously we had a bounce here. So this will be the first time. This will be the second time. Second time is totally fine. This would be like a triple bottom because we do have so this is our double bottom and this would be the third time. But I would count this as only one trade personally. So this would be the second time. But yeah, this is a double bottom. We might see the same thing happen again. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, it looks good. The TPs are a really good spot as well. I wouldn't change these. We can see this here is a resistance based on the price. And this is a resistance here as well. We can see price rejecting that level multiple times. So yeah, this looks pretty good to me. Nothing much here to talk about. I think, overall, it looks like a global is still bullish. We can turn on the RTD and check. Yeah, global is still bullish. Local is kind of going into the global, but that's totally fine. If you see, local expanding more and it's not losing momentum and it's starting to go below global, that's when you want to be a little more careful, maybe move to break even. But yeah, so far it looks fine. Moving on to NZDCAD. NZDCAD, similar scenario. So we had a really good rejection here on this level previously. Looks like it was a good support level before. And local is kind of itching below global. Previously when we had these dips. So we had a dip here. I was staying below that for a couple days. Same thing here. I got a fake out here. So, local is kind of getting stronger. You can see it's kind of like, okay, sorry, the strength is getting weaker. In other words, the local is getting weaker, but it's still below the global. So you can see global also getting weaker. So for me, it might be just going into consolidation right now. We do have some time left for this trade. So what I would do personally is I would just wait out and see how this trade develops, how the market develops, and maybe wait for price to go into the level, wait for rejection, and then place the entry. With this trade. Now we're going into the daily setups. So now we have CAD JPY, and on this one we're right around entry currently. So we're right around entry, and let's see if looks fine to me. We can see global is up, local is just coming down for the retest. I would say the stop loss is in a good place because we do have some more room to go a little further down from this neutral into this support, because we're going to be buying kind of around these highs. So previously you can see we had some fake breakouts above this neutral, right? So this here is a neutral level. This here is a neutral. You can see we had some fake breakouts here previously, and the price was falling down. So this could be another fake breakout and the price falls back to the support like it did previously. So something might happen. So this is a good place to put your stop loss. CAD JPY looks good if you want to set that up. Make sure you don't overexpose your trades. For example, NZDCAD and CAD, they're both CAD pairs, or for example, AUDNZD, AUDCAD, we're going to go through next. They're both the same currency. So make sure you're not putting on too many trades, even when you're hedging. So you still want to be careful, because if you're hedging and everything, goes the opposite direction of where you want it to go, it's even though you're hedging, it's still going to not play out that well. So I would say max 5. That's personally what I do, not more than 5 trades. But again, look at your journal and see if you can kind of find something that works well for your style. But that's kind of what I use. So AUDNZD is next. Let's have a look at AUDNZD on the daily time frame. This is a long setup. This one looks nice. I like this one. So we just moved above the hard end here. We've rejected the support. We created a higher low away from our support. We are now moving up. We're above the hard end, and we broke this previous high here as well. So now we're just coming down for the retest on this previous high. So we're going to be looking for something like this. Break, retest, and a continuation up into this level. Pretty conservative TP points. AUDNZD, I guess that's fair on AUDNZD because it does move nicely. I could see price going all the way back up to this resistance up here to retest this zone up over here. But I think, these TPs are good. You might be able to milk this 2 times. So this would be the first entry. down, might hit TP, it might come down for double bottom and then go up. So if that happens, just put your orders back on. Sometimes you can milk these, 3 times, and then from there you can stop. So this is AUDNZD. Moving on to AUDCAD. This is also a long setup, very similar to the previous one, but I do like AUDNZD a lot more with the entry and everything. So AUDNZD I do prefer over this one. But yeah, this one, if you set this one up, I'm sure it'll be a winner too. They kind of move the same, but I do like the way AUDNZ looks. It just looks a little cleaner. Moving on to USDJPY. This is a short on USDJPY. Let's have a look. I think this looks okay. Well, it had a nice trend collapse. So here we have a trend collapse, and trend collapse is when local moves below global quite heavily, and global is expanding and local is expanding. So you might see local coming back up a little bit to retest this level here, or it might just retest the support. But if it does come back up to this hard end, you might see local changing, but global's down, which is what we want to see. If local goes up trending, you go into this level, that's totally fine, because we need that bullish momentum on the short term to go into the entry. So that's totally fine. Here what we have is we have a strong rejection on this resistance up top here. You can see we had a strong resistance here up top. So this here was kind of our supply price. We tested here, created a double top away from this supply level, and then we pretty much broke down. So right now we're back on the support, but if you enter here, it'll be fine because you're not entering a support. If you're selling here, then you're selling basically on support, which is something you never want to do. Never sell on support, never buy on resistance. Just a very basic rule in trading. You'll be able to avoid a lot of trades like that. And good thing for you, you have the algorithm, so that's good. So yeah, this looks fine. The only thing is it is a little bit consolidating. That's the only thing. But TP1 is right at the bottom of the consolidation. So when I mean consolidation, I really mean this. So you can see price is balancing between your support and resistance here. So this is what a consolidation is. The reason why I'm saying this one is fine, it's a very big range. So from support to resistance, there's quite some space there. And TP1 is right around your support, which is perfect. If it doesn't break, at least you've hit TP1. If it breaks, cool, you're gonna hit TP2. Moving on to the equities. So quite a few equities to go through. We're gonna start with NVIDIA. This is a long trade on equities for our time frame. What we're doing here, we're playing off the support. So this here is the support. You can see previously price was bouncing off this level as well. So this support is a little bigger like this, but you can see price was bouncing off this level previously, which is good. So we do have local going below global, which is fine, I think, because previously the same thing kind of happened. It's because it's consolidating, so I don't think it's a big issue. So we're just gonna be playing this range, buying support, and then selling when it hits the kind of the middle of this consolidation. Now we're gonna go through some daily time frames. First one we have is Activision, ATVI. We had a really nice run up here. Now we're having a pullback. So this here's the pullback, and then we can probably expect another push up. So this is a good entry. It might be too late to enter now. You can see already created a double bottom, wick rejection, and now it's going up. So this one might be a little too late. Maybe skip this one. So let's move on to Baidu. This one we've already waited for, I think, a few days. So this one's still the same as last week. Still waiting for the entry. We just hit resistance, so we should see price come back into the hard end. So this one's still good to go. If you stop your limits, perfect. No need to change them. Next one is CSCO. CSCO we also, I think, went through last week. So let's do just a quick follow-up. Okay, so we hit entry and hit TP1. If you took this trade, great. You hit TP1. Now just wait for TP2. Move your stops and break even on your last few positions. And yeah, just let it ride. See if it takes you to TP2. Next up, we got Fitbit. Fitbit is currently a short. Me personally, I wouldn't short this. Just because we're consolidating. I don't really like this consolidation. You can see some higher lows and higher highs forming. We just filled this range, but this could be really your higher low and the price could go up. Good thing is your TPs are right around here, so I guess that's good, which means you're not really trying to get too much out of it. Personally, shorting stocks, like I said in my other videos, it's something you don't want to do consistently. So if you, depending on your portfolio, you might want to do this, might not. I can't give you advice on that. Personally, this is a trade I would skip. Next up, we got GS. So Goldman Sachs. This is a long trade setup on this support here. So it's a really nice support. We broke the previous high here. Now we're just looking for the pullback and retest that level. So this one looks fine. Goldman Sachs is good to buy. JPM, so JP Morgan. Let's have a look here. Also looking for a buy. This one looks quite good as well. You might want to take either JPM or Goldman. They move quite similar from what I see here on the chart. So you might want to, because they're in the same industry, same niche, you might want to skip one. I would say, I mean, Goldman already broke the previous high. So I think JPM might come back for another retest. Again, I can't guarantee, but it might be more suitable. We also covered this on the last week's video. If you got in this entry, I mean, you're pretty lucky. This was a good entry. But if you missed it, I think you might be able to enter again. If not, this thing will just go to the next resistance up here. Okay, moving on to McDonald's. McDonald's currently has a short setup. Personally, I wouldn't trade this. It looks more like a pullback. So it looks like to me, we're just going to do something like this, personally. You can see global is very thin. Local is kind of like going back and forth. So there's really no big momentum here. So I wouldn't trade McDonald's at this point. I think this is a trade we can skip. Moving on to Norwegian Cruise Holdings, NCLH. Let's have a look at this. This one is a buy. Looks like it's accumulating. So we had a break above our support here. We're now above the neutral. Looks like it's consolidating, or you could say accumulating to break higher. So this is your accumulation. I think we could see something like this. So I think, yeah, you can accumulate here, and it got out the previous high. If you do want to play around a little bit, you could try holding it a little longer into this resistance. Again, don't take my word for it, but personally, that's what I would probably do, is sort of take advantage of this accumulation, play the range a little bit, and hold a little longer to the hard R. All right, moving on to Netflix. Netflix, this short has been on for quite some time as well. I don't know if I would trade this. TP1 does look good. TP1 does look realistic. TP2, a little less realistic. But I think overall, I think Netflix could be more bullish in the near future. Again, you can see global is pretty much very thin right now. It's just crossing, but that really isn't reliable. So I think this is a trade we can skip as well. Pfizer, short, interesting. So short opportunity on this one. I don't know if I would take this. We do have a nice global kind of gaining momentum, but looks quite choppy. So you can, if you look at some of these past moves, we got some really steep like pullbacks and pumps. So I don't know if you want to risk a market like this where you have these big sell-offs and these big gains. You want to look at something more consistent, something more that, you know, trends nicely. This one seems a little more random. So maybe this is a trade we can skip as well. So it looks like most of the shorts this week are kind of not that good. So yeah, this is a trade I would skip. So moving on to PGHH, Procter & Gamble, hygiene, very nice uptrend on the RTD at least. Price is okay. The more recent, yeah, I guess the more recent leg here is quite nice. So what you can do is enter here and then take it to TP1 here and take it to TP2 here. I think this is a realistic trade. It is quite expensive. It's 11,000. So I don't know if it depends on your setup, where you're trading. But if you can afford it, looks like an okay trade. Okay, plug. We got also a long setup, a daily swing. Looks like it had a nice breakout. So yeah, take advantage of this buy entry here and then take a TP1 up here. Looks like an okay trade, nice trend up. Just take advantage of the pullbacks. Moving on to TLRY. This is, I think Tilray. Is it Tilray? Yeah. So also nice pump up, waiting to get entered on the pullback. This looks like a fine trade. Nothing really much to cover here. And yeah, moving on to Twitter. So Twitter currently has a short setup. So currently a short on Twitter. Enter here. This looks like a good entry. This is actually a short I do not mind, because we had a nice expansion to the upside. And now we're pretty much, looks like we want to go bearish. So you can see global is starting to trend down. It's right at that tipping point. So it's not, you know, 100% yet. Once you see it expanding, then you can say, okay, this thing is going to go down. Local though is expanding already. So we might see the global trend just following. So I do think this could be a good short setup when it comes to the tech stocks on Twitter. So yeah, I think this is good. Let's look at this trend line. So this is your trend line. Looks like we are breaking it. Looks like it's losing some momentum. So you can see here, we had a kind of liquidity grab here, rejection. But now you can see there's almost no rejection on this. So I don't know how this will open up, right? The stock market is still closed. But this thing could just fall through. And then maybe from here, it'll take out this. If it goes here into this support, it'll probably take out the buyers, the trendline buyers here. So their stop loss is usually around here. So it'll probably take them out and then go up into this level again. And this is where we're going to enter, right? So really good entry point. So I think this is a good short setup. I think that's the only short trade setup I liked for this week. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you guys have anything else you want me to review, please join the weekly Q&A. They happen every Monday, 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can jump on with me, ask questions about any trades, about anything with the navigator, any questions you have about open trades. We can review them. We can look at our algorithm and see maybe what you should do. It's very helpful, especially if you're new. Maybe if you're in a trial, maybe if you're your first month. That's usually where you get the most benefits out of the weekly Q&A, just to make sure we get you guys up and running on the right foot right from the start and help you avoid a lot of the common beginner mistakes people make. That's it for today. If you guys have further questions, make sure to put them down in the comments below. Like this video, hit the subscribe button, join our global chat if you would to partake in, just overall trading chat. If you want to post your trades there, feel free. Get feedback on your trades. It's a really good place to get feedback and see if you're doing things correctly. And the team will be there pretty much 24/7 to answer any questions. All right, my name is Patrick. I'll see you guys in the weekly Q&A tomorrow. Bye-bye.